it's okay.
انه بيشوفوش اللي مسكر بس.
We tried for 2 hours to get into Hebron, but every checkpoint had the same outcome.
All roads to Hebron currently closed.
We were able to find some roads into the city that were not guarded by military checkpoints, but those too had been made impassable. Here, Palestinians bring in food, water, and supplies via a crane. I found this puzzling. If the military was establishing a complete lockdown of the city for security purposes, then why were they allowing people to deliver food and supplies unchecked? A man stops to show me his son, wounded. He said he was not allowed to travel past the checkpoint to take him to a hospital.
How did it happen? Why is Hebron closed?
هذه الخليل مسكرة لأنه هم بيدعوا إنه في مشاكل وما فيش إشي فوين مكان بحطوا تلات.
Do you have family that lives inside of Hebron or?
عندي.
So you can't see them or you
تشوفهم بالمناسبات.
في المناسبات لما بدنا في الاضطرار. وترى الأوقات في ممنوع التجول يعني معنى التجول.
I wanted to leave the van behind and walk in. Aka told me that was far too dangerous, and we should continue trying to find a road where we could drive in. But after 4 or 5 checkpoints, no luck. Just as I packed away my camera, thinking we would not get in, something happened. My driver, Musa, pulled up to a gate entering the city reserved for Jewish settlers only. Maybe it was my green shirt, I'm not sure. But the man in the guard shack who was reading the newspaper simply looked up and after seeing me, pushed the button opening the gate and went back to his reading. We were in. It took a while for our driver, Musa, to find his bearings. And soon we found ourselves right on the other side from where we had seen the crane delivering food and supplies earlier. Both Aka and Musa seemed very nervous about something.
What? What's so funny?
If the Israelis they catch us, they've been fuck us. No, I'm serious.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
To be honest, I would have preferred for him to have kept that to himself. I told myself I would direct us to do everything we could to avoid any encounters with the military, trying to calm my nerves. I could tell we were now traveling through a Palestinian city due to all the sights that had become far too familiar. I was told that we would be leaving our van behind and walking from here on. Something seemed different about this place. Something was missing. People. I had asked Aka what these cement barricades were for. He had said, "Don't worry, they are nothing." I was now learning that Aka told me this for my own good, because he knew that if I had known what area we were entering, I might have rethought things. For we were now entering Hebron H2. The city is divided into 2 sectors, H1 and H2. H2 was carved out of Hebron when 400 Jewish settlers were moved in by the Israeli government. In place to protect those 400 settlers, 2,500 military personnel. And with that, gone were my hopes of avoiding any encounters with the military.
Your passport.
Yes, sir.
Moments before this soldier approached us, Aka turned to me and said, with the most serious tone I'd ever seen him use, "Remember your story." We had devised, should we run into the military, a story that I was here as an American Jew on a pilgrimage to take pictures of where my father's family used to live here in Hebron, and that we had been given permission to enter the city for that reason.
Where do you come from?
Where I come from, Los Angeles.
Doing a report or something?
Just checking everything out, seeing how it is. Everything seems pretty cool.
Our mere presence here would hopefully be enough of a reason to believe the story, since there was such a tight lockdown on the people entering the city. Everything would be fine as long as they didn't try to verify our story with the soldiers at the checkpoints into the city. Even though a second soldier walked up, causing us to explain the entire story again, we were allowed to continue on, and my technique of employing a hidden camera seemed to have worked.
Thank you.
The children we had passed at the barricades seemed to be our cheering team as they threw snipes at the soldiers we had just encountered. Back near the trash heap, of which the stench was nauseating even from a distance, I saw something I didn't understand. Was this Israeli graffiti? I wasn't sure. The only Palestinians I saw outside in H2 was a mother and her child, who were being stopped by the same guards we had encountered moments earlier. We were making our way deeper into H2 towards the mosque. I would try to use my companions as cover as I would try to steady my camera.
Don't move, you guys.
But the frequency of soldiers and checkpoints was making it too difficult.
Don't tell them that your father is.
As I was escorted over to a checkpoint for questioning, I was conflicted about using my heritage as a ploy to get deeper into the military zone. My father's family was not from Hebron, and I do not belong to a Jewish synagogue.
Hello.
And so far, it was working.
Huh?
Yes, yes. אני אסביר, אני עכשיו. יש לי תעודת...
רק יהודים נכנסים, יש עוד צד בכלל. לא, עזוב את האוטו. בדקו אותנו, כל המחסנים. בגלל שאנחנו באנו אותו.
Do you know what he say?
Not much.
These soldiers are from the lost tribe of Africa. They are guarding the entrance to the mosque, a holy place for both Jews and Muslims. Once a mosque for Muslims, it was taken over by the Israeli military a few years ago and given to the settlers. As we made our case for being there, settlers entering the mosque stopped only out of curiosity of these three people that clearly didn't belong here. I was sure that at any moment they would search me, find that I was videotaping everything, and it would be over. But that didn't happen, and we said goodbye to the lost tribe of Africa.
Thank you.
Checkpoints were now every 80 feet. We were not stopped at this checkpoint since it was in clear view of the last checkpoint we had just been released from. As we moved away from the mosque, I began to have that same feeling I had when I first entered the H2 area. Where were all the people? Where had they gone? I could see some people in their houses above, but that couldn't be all the people that at one point were part of a community that used these shops for their daily living. Some 15 to 20,000 people. At our next checkpoint, I saw two men from the TIPH, an international observer organization put in place by Boutros Boutros-Ghali to monitor the Israeli government some years ago.
Andreas.
Andreas, nice to meet you. Where are you guys from?
Norway.
Norway. What are you doing here?
ETIPH.
Pardon me?
ETIPH, International Observers.
National observers?
Yep.
Very good. And what are you observing?
Well,
Same thing as you're filming, I think.
Huh?
filming the roadmap. You observe the roadmap.
You're observing the roadmap, are you? Very good. How's it coming?
No. Well, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any hope
What? Oh,
for the roadmap?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
Some cigarettes.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You can picture, but only the street,
On the street?
Very nice.
Not,
not.
so you guys get pretty much, how's your access as far as like observing? Do you really get to observe
We can
whatever?
go everywhere we like.
Inside the city of we have access to everywhere.
Yeah? So if okay, so everything's,
Unless we have particular areas, or small areas called close military areas.
uh-huh.
And then we're not
Then those areas change, or are they?
sometimes it's a pretext for
Yeah,
other things.
other things, yeah. So they might designate other areas, those areas, when needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
When needed, you can always say that this is a close military area. No one from outside can enter. And basically, you whatever you want.
I'll definitely consider. Could you get me those? I'll say hi. Thank you guys so much.
I was concerned that the longer we stayed in one place, the more attention we drew, so we moved on. And as we moved down the street, that feeling that had been in the back of my head, the presence of something that I couldn't put my finger on, hit me hard like a brick wall. 1,500 Palestinian shops closed down. The Star of David indicates a seal of permanent closure. To ignore and open would be a crime punishable by imprisonment. I knew I had only a few moments to act, so I gave my camera to Akka and pulled out my still camera, thinking it would be less noticeable from a distance. By now, the soldiers at the next checkpoint were yelling to me, and it probably didn't help that I hadn't noticed Akka was now holding my video camera like a video camera.
Yes? What he say?
He said he's going to shoot. It's like a ghost town. Hello, how you guys doing? So how are things going around here?
Yeah, not so bad. Sometimes.
Yeah?
Today has been pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah, pretty good.
which is not the case, of course, which is rare also.
So this whole city's pretty much shut down because of the settlers?
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty
400
much.
settlers, is that right?
Sorry?
400? 400 settlers. And how
Just here
I
in
mean,
the city
inside
center.
the city.
There is another settlement just
Without counting
there.
Kiryat Arba.
yeah, exactly.
So how many people were actually locked down for these 400 settlers?
At least 4,000 in Kiryat Arba.
How about here?
About here 400, yeah. From
No, 400 settlers, but how many locals? are-
1,000 and
And 20.
yeah.
One,
One,
120,000.
yeah, 102,000.
So 120,000 people can't go outside their houses pretty much?
Yeah.
It depends if they're no.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
basically here in the H2 area,
Uh-huh.
which is curfew,
Yeah.
and of course in H1, like today, some parts of the town
Yeah.
are under curfew, others not. So, but we just had an example of 1 hour before,
Uh-huh.
1 hour ago, and a whole bunch of people wanted to go to a marriage because it was marriage day. So in some part in H1 area, but all the person in the H2 could not leave their house.
Yeah, they lived in H2.
Just
So they
because
were
they're
stopped.
living in H2 area, so they cannot go into H1 area. Just
How do these
because
people survive if they're all locked down like this?
That's a good
they blow
question.
up themselves.
Huh?
They go to Jerusalem and they blow up themselves. No, I mean,
Yeah. That's what they
Of
do.
course. We are kidding, but
I mean, the university has been
yeah,
closed
I couldn't
for
live
10
in this
months.
in this kind of life. I couldn't live.
What does this remind you guys of?
Sorry?
Does this remind you of anything? Historically?
A lot.
Anything you'd like to actually say, or?
A lot. But you know, there is this psychological, I don't know how to say it in English, which what has been analyzed, which is called the symptom of the beaten kid. Like the kid who was been beaten will grow up and will beat their children. Even he was not guilty of being beaten. I mean, he was beaten by the parents. And this child, if there is no like psychological follow-up, he will grow up and then beat his own children because he was beaten, because he just thinks that it's a normal way to do it without any other explanation. And that reminds me also some other things.
What they want.
Maybe she would say something.
We should go now. Thank you guys.
All the best.
Take care.
ديروا بالكم يا شباب.
كيف حالك؟ كل شيء تمام؟ Okay, take care. All the best.
Alright.
You know what? See which kind of life these people they got? So because of the people, they don't get hope in the future. When they told you, these people in the West Bank, they don't get hope in the future, because what's going on here, you see by your eyes how the people they live here.
والله بكره بطلع مع التلفزيون والله
بجد بتستوش انت.
بكره لما يطلع مع التلفزيون هيك بتصير تقول لهم بتستاهلوا والله
زي الزلمه امشي، يلا امشي زي الزلمه. يلا باي.
والله انا شفتك على الراجل قول يعطينا اسمه.
Alright, we gotta go. Bye-bye.
I still wanted to know where all the people that were clearly unaccounted for in the H2 district had went. 3 blocks outside H2, I found them, living in something that can only be described as a ghetto. After we passed through the ghetto, the car was silent. No one spoke, not a word. We pulled up to what was the Mukata in Hebron, completely demolished. The courthouse, the police station, and the jail, the town hall, and the Palestinians' government headquarters. I'm sure if you asked the Israeli military why they did this, they would tell you it was necessary because of terrorism. I, however, could only think of one word to describe this, but I dare not speak it. Not yet.